Shut up. Seriously, shut up. They told you to wake up at 5 a.m. They told you to grind. They told you to turn your hobby into a side hustle and then turn your side hustle into a second job. They told you to skip the latte, save your pennies, and eventually, one day, you'll be free. And you did it. You played by their rules. You put in the 60-hour weeks. So let me ask you a very simple, very painful question. Why are you still struggling to pay rent? Why does it feel like no matter how fast you run, the finish line keeps moving further away? I'll tell you why. Because hustle culture is the most successful Ponzi scheme in modern history. It was designed by the elite to keep you exhausted, turning the gears of their machine while they buy up the entire planet. You think you are building a life, but you are actually just generating liquidity for your landlord, your bank, and the IRS. Today, we are burning the rule book. I'm going to show you why working for a salary is mathematically designed to keep you broke. I'm going to give you the exact real-world data they hide from you, and I'm going to show you exactly how the top 1% get paid. Let's get one thing straight. The world isn't divided by race or gender or whether you prefer iPhone or Android. Those are distractions. The global economy is divided into two brutal, unapologetic classes: the people who earn money and the people who own things. When you trade your time for a salary, whether you are a barista in London serving flat whites or a senior software engineer in Silicon Valley writing code, you are playing the wage game. You hustle, you bleed, you get a check. You pay 30 to 40% in taxes before you even see the money. But the people writing that check, they are playing the asset game. Let's look at the data. In 1980, the average ratio of CEO pay to a typical worker was 21 to 1. Today, it's over 344 to 1. Did CEOs suddenly start working 344 times harder? Are they waking up 344 times earlier? Of course not. They just stopped playing for wages and started playing for equity. Here's the glitch in the matrix. The currency you are killing yourself to earn is programmed to self-destruct. While you are saving your melting ice cubes in a savings account, giving you a pathetic 1% yield, the elite are taking on massive, tax-free debt to buy up the freezer. It's called real estate, stocks, and business equity. They don't want cash. Cash is trash. They want control. They call it inflation, like it's some natural weather event. Oh, prices went up. Guess it rained. No. Listen to me very closely. Inflation is a stealth tax on the working class. It is the invisible hand reaching into your pocket while you sleep. When central banks printed over $3 trillion out of thin air in 2020 and 2021, your salary didn't magically double, but the price of housing did. The price of groceries did. When they print money, your salary actively buys less of the world. And while your purchasing power burns, what do the elites do? They weaponize debt. Let me give you a real-world example. During the pandemic, ordinary people were scraping by on stimulus checks. Meanwhile, massive global funds like BlackRock and Vanguard saw an opportunity. They borrowed billions at near zero interest rates. And what did they buy? Single-family homes. From Toronto to Atlanta to Berlin, entire neighborhoods were swept up by corporate cash. They don't want you to own a house. Ownership gives you power. They want you to rent it back from them forever. You hustle 60 hours a week just to pass your paycheck directly to your corporate landlord, who uses your rent money to pay off the debt they used to buy the house you wanted in the first place. It is a perfect loop, a flawless racket. And if you think working a third job as an Uber driver or selling print-on-demand t-shirts is going to let you beat a multi-billion-dollar algorithm buying up your city, you are deeply, tragically delusional. You can't outwork a printing press. You can't outwork systemic inflation. But wait, it gets better. Just when you thought you could grind your way to the middle class, enter artificial intelligence. The tech billionaires went on every podcast and promised AI would make your life easier. A 4-day work week, they said. More time with your family. Please. AI is not a tool for the working class. Wake up. It is the ultimate weapon for the asset class to completely remove the wage class from the equation. Why pay you a $70,000 salary, plus health insurance, plus office space, plus HR benefits when an algorithm can do 80% of your job for $0 a year. Look at what is happening in the real world right now. In 2024, Klarna, the massive payment company, announced their AI assistant was doing the equivalent work of 700 full-time human customer service agents. Did Klarna take those savings and give everyone else a raise? No, they cut costs and drove up their equity valuation for the shareholders. This isn't just about writers and coders. This is a global middle-class extinction event. We are watching the greatest transfer of wealth in human history. The elite are using AI to cut their operational costs to near absolute zero, while inflation keeps their asset prices at all-time highs. The gap between the person who owns the AI and the person competing against the AI is about to become an uncrossable ocean. If your only value to the market is executing repetitive cognitive tasks, your salary is about to evaporate. Look at the board. The math is undeniable. Hard work, trading hours for fiat currency, will never, ever beat a rigged system where the house prints the money, writes the laws, and owns the properties. If you make $100,000 a year and you save a very disciplined 10%, that's $10,000. It would take you 40 years to save $400,000. A hedge fund manager makes that in a single afternoon by moving a decimal point on an asset sheet. We are not looking at capitalism anymore. We are looking at Neo-Feudalism. If you don't own a piece of the board, you are a modern-day serf. You are working the digital land for the modern kings of Wall Street and Silicon Valley. You can't out-hustle this. You can't out-save this. If you stay on the hamster wheel, you will grind until you die, and they will put a cheap plastic plaque on your desk thanking you for your service. So how do we strike back? How do we win an unwinnable game? You stop playing their game and you start playing yours. You stop being a wage slave and you become an owner. I'm not saying you march into your boss's office and quit your job tomorrow. I'm saying you need a fundamental, violent mentality shift. Your salary is no longer your goal. It is your seed capital. It is ammunition. Every spare dollar, euro, or yen you make does not go towards buying a depreciating liability so you can look rich on Instagram. You don't need the Gucci belt. You don't need the car financing. That money goes into buying a piece of the board. You buy equity. You buy indices. You buy digital assets. You build a cash-flowing business. You start acting like a ruthless institution instead of an emotional consumer. You trade their fake melting paper for real hard assets. You use AI to multiply your own leverage and scale your own income instead of waiting for it to replace you at your cubicle. Hustle culture wants you to bleed for the dollar. Alpha culture demands the dollar bleeds for you. The system is rigged. The game is completely unfair. So stop crying about it and go buy a piece of the rigging. You want more? Then hit that subscribe button, because this channel isn't motivation, it's ammunition. Every week I show you exactly how the system works and exactly how to buy a piece of it. You don't want to be a spectator, you want to be an owner. So join the board, subscribe, stay dangerous. I'm out.